Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I am Leslie Fields. I am the co-chair for the Election Protection Committee of the National Bar Association. And tonight we are kicking off the final days before the most important election of our lives. And I am here to introduce some very, very important people associated with the National Bar and also with our ally, the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights. I first have the great honor to introduce President C.K. Huffler, my friend, my law school classmate, who will give us some remarks. I want to next introduce Lynn Whitfield, who is the Transformative Justice Coalition National Bar Association Fellow for the election protection work, and Barbara Arnwine, who is the founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition, who will join us shortly. And then Jennifer Wachchukwu from the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under law is also here and will also instruct us. So, Madam President, please exhort us about the importance of election protection.
Well, thank you so much, Leslie Fields. What can I just have to say something about Leslie Fields. You know, in law school, Leslie was always so passionate, engaged. And in addition to being just a magnificent friend, I have so much respect for what she does. You all may not know this, but she is one of the world's leading environmental lawyers. I mean, not the state, not the country, but one of the world's leading environmental lawyers. And I don't even know if I'm framing it the right way, but she's bad to the bone. And so she's also gained so much recognition over the past 3 decades. That's right, Leslie, we've been out of law school for 33 or 34 years in the election protection space. So it is such a pleasure for me to work with Leslie this year. She's co-chairing this election protection effort with our President-elect Carlos Moore. And Leslie, I just can't say thank you enough on behalf of the NBA, on behalf of all of our members. The countless hours and the energy that you've put into this has just been nothing short of remarkable. And Lynn Whitfield, our fellow, the first time in the history of the NBA and Transformative Justice Coalition, our partnership has produced, thanks to the efforts of Tanya Clayhouse, this wonderful fellow. We have all known Lynn Whitfield for the extraordinary work she's done with the bar, but she has just soared and taken us to a whole new level as our election protection fellow. So thank you so much, Lynn. To Jennifer. Jennifer at the Lawyers Committee on Civil Rights, we thank you for the work that you're doing. This work is phenomenal. We have always partnered with the Lawyers Committee on Civil Rights, but we have taken that partnership to another level. I'm so proud to announce, that I'm going to be on the National Command Center for the Lawyers Committee on Civil Rights. I will be there at the table on Election Day, and after that, on behalf of the National Bar Association. And that really is such an honor to represent an organization that I absolutely love, and our partnership with another organization, the Lawyers Committee on Civil Rights, that I love. So the table is set, ladies and gentlemen of the National Bar. We are in the final stretch. I'm not going to do a sports analogy because I'll mess it up, but we're in the final stretch of these elections. It is so important for us to support the National Bar's election protection effort. Our coalition partners, the Divine Nine, they have stepped up to the plate and have just taken on an amazing role. And thank you, Lynn Whitfield, again, for all your efforts. AAJ stepped up to the plate. Our other coalition partners, we're ready and we're poised. I think in the final analysis with all of our partners, we will have over 7,000 lawyers, and there are more joining every single day in this effort. I got some calls over the past 48 hours from coalition partners. They are dying to join the National Bar's effort because we have determined that we are going to be a major player in the election protection effort this year, that nonpartisan effort in our communities, ensuring and protecting the right to vote. Just within the past hour, I did public service announcements on behalf of the National Bar Association. I did 2 sets today. One with celebrities. That would be Eddie Levert, Howard Hewitt, and Johnny Gill. They have serenaded us with their songs, and I grew up, we all did, on the OJs, Johnny Gill and Howard Hewitt. Oh my goodness, I just couldn't believe it. But this is everyone was talking about the importance of protecting the vote and of voting. Each of those celebrities and others. I also had another group of dynamic women who also did public service announcements. And it was just unbelievable how everybody's perspective, we had African-American women, we had Latinx women, we had white women all coming together, talking about the importance of protecting the right to vote, dismissing or trying to minimize and getting rid of voter suppression, and making sure that we vote. Everybody's word was vote, vote, vote. We have all embraced that. So ladies and gentlemen of the National Bar Association, now is our time. There's nothing to it but to do it. Now, I think there's probably a song about that. But so against that backdrop, thank you so much. We see Barbara Arnwine from the Transformative Justice Coalition has joined us. Transformative Justice Coalition, I just feel like we're all, I know we call ourselves partners, but we're all one. We're all one. Tanya Clayhouse and Barbara Arnwine last year were the senior advisors to the NBA and helped to design and construct our election protection program and efforts. And we were determined to take it to another level, including the training that we did at Wiley Brennan, 27 states, the global training and everything, the marches and supporting the PPE, sending out to the fields, our young lawyers, Anika Williams and her team, unbelievable, unparalleled efforts, and representing the National Bar so well, tremendously, and the souls to the polls and the marches that Barbara and the Transformative Justice Coalition, Rainbow Push Coalition, our coalition partners have done nothing short of remarkable. And what we are telling the world and our community, most importantly, that we are here to protect the right to vote in a peaceful way, an appropriate way, and Black lawyers are leading the way. Of course, there are other lawyers in our coalition groups, but African-American lawyers need to make sure that our communities know that we are here to protect their vote and to protect them through our election protection efforts and the other poll or voting relating efforts that we're doing. So thank you all to everyone, to Jennifer, to Barbara, to Lynn, to Leslie, to Kyle, and to everyone, and Carlos Moore, and everyone involved in our election protection effort. Thank you. But ladies and gentlemen, National Bar, we got to do this. All right.
Thank you, Madam President, for your great leadership on this and all the other issues, the National Bar. And so next up, going to have Barbara Arnwine, and the founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition, to speak about the state of play. And Lynn Whitfield will then speak about how to volunteer. And Barbara?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, Madam President. Your leadership has been nothing short of inspired and magnificent. We are so grateful for your stepping in and stepping up and showing everyone how it's done, how Black lawyers make all the difference in this country in this time. And when it comes to voting, we are the answer, right? It is Black lawyers who are fighting in Pennsylvania. If you know, just an hour ago, Pennsylvania got a ruling from the Supreme Court again. Last week, you might recall, they deadlocked on the issue of what should happen with the counting of ballots in Pennsylvania. Well, just an hour ago, the Supreme Court ruled, it's my understanding they ruled, I haven't read everything, that they actually ruled that Pennsylvania can proceed with counting their ballots 3 days after the election is over, which is a great victory for us. All right.
And to unmute and clap. That is a major victory. Thank you so much, Barbara. I'm going to go back on mute. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, it's huge. And, but they're not finished because the Republican Party says that they're going to file a new matter before the Supreme Court on the same issue. So it's not over, but that's a huge victory because that's one of our biggest worries out there. Nevertheless, it is us as lawyers who have to do this essential work because those are Black lawyers, Michael Pratt, Pedro Souza, Talante, all of those lawyers who have done that incredible litigation in Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for your leadership. We know all over the country that you're doing litigation, that Black lawyers are making a difference in this fight, but we want to make sure that more of us are doing it. We want to make sure that we are the leaders, the army, when it comes to election protection. We don't want to see the tragedies that we've seen in the past where there are all white volunteers, legal volunteers, and people are saying, well, where do I go to vote? You know, where's the joint, whatever, and folks looking at them like they crazy because they have no idea how to direct them to the polling sites, don't understand the addresses, the cities. You know all that. You know what folks are saying. You can be a huge difference. We are into the final days. Early voting stops in certain states tomorrow. Early voting will stop Friday in other states and stop on Saturday in so many states, not all, but most. So we really got to drive it. There are 30 million. This is a stat I saw today that blew my mind. Out of the millions of ballots that have been mailed to people to turn in, 30 million have not been returned as of this moment, as of 2 hours ago. 30 million ballots. It is our imperative, our absolute imperative duty to educate voters that it is their time right now that they have to turn those ballots in if they intend to turn them in. Don't mail them. Don't put anything in that US mail. We call it the drop box versus the mailbox, no mailbox. So we want people to really be focused on the fact that we got to get those ballots in. Some people are thinking they can still drop them in the mail at the last minute. Don't do it. 28 states, they don't make it very clear. Do not allow for counting of any ballots that are not received by November the 3rd. Only 22 allow you to count them afterwards. So it's very important. It doesn't matter when it's postmarked, by the way, for those 28 states. They don't care when you postmark it. It's got to be in their hand on November 3rd. So we got imperatives for voter education, imperatives, but we want you to be part of election protection because that's the way you're going to really be tied through all of these important networks to make sure that we're delivering services to Black people. I want every African American to wake up on November 3rd, if they have not voted already, to know one thing, that there's one certainty. They don't know how long they might stand in line. They don't know what they might encounter at the polling places because the militias are beginning to show up at polling places. White, vicious militias are showing up already. But we can't tell them what they can expect, but there's one thing they should be able to expect. They should be able to rely upon, and that is that Black lawyers will have their backs. That should not be in doubt. That should not be in question. That's the one thing we got to do. So be sure if you haven't already signed up to sign up. Be sure if your friends haven't already signed up to sign up. This is not a last minute call thing. This is urgent that we do it now, today, as soon as we can. And with that said, Madam President, you know I get riled up. But I just really want to urge everyone to do this because it makes all the difference. One of the joys of the call I just got off of, which is a national call that we have every night with organizers, lawyers, clergy, people from all over the country. One of the joys is that we had last Friday a report of a young Black man who went to vote and they wouldn't let him vote because he had on partisan paraphernalia in his mask. And they wouldn't offer him another mask, and they shooed him away from the polls, and he was not able to vote. And even though he had signed in and they had given a ballot in his hand, they would not let him vote, and they made him leave because of his mask. Well, he had called Rainbow Push to complain and say that he could not vote and that he wasn't going back because he was a former felon, and that he didn't want to get arrested, and he had been so maltreated that he wasn't going back to vote, but he wanted everybody to know how badly he had been treated. And when I heard that report from Betty Magnus, President Hoffler, I said to her and to everybody on that call, because people were aghast and upset, I said, tell him, call a clerk, let's get a clergy person, let's find a clergy person and tell him we're going to have that clergy person go with him, that he doesn't have to go by himself. So if we can't find a clergy, we'll find a
Barbara, you're muted. You're muted. You have to unmute yourself.
I was going to say he wasn't able, we said get a clergy person to go with you or get a lawyer. They were able to get Bishop Grant to go with him, and he voted. His vote is now counted. That would not have happened but for us. You know, we got to do this work. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Let me just add, that's the power of where we are today. There are thousands of examples like that.
Yes.
And Barbara, thank you for sharing that. You know, I'm chair of the board of Rainbow Push. I was aware that there were some instances where people couldn't vote, but it's the power of our community coming together and Black lawyers saying we are here to protect you and make it happen. So thank you. And I know that Tanya Clayhouse from the State Infrastructure Fund is here as well. And I just wanted to make sure, Tanya, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I just want to make sure you said a few words as well.
Madam President, I've asked Kyle to send her the panelist link so that she can be able to speak to us. So hopefully he will be able to send that very soon. Kyle, if we could, before we go to the next slide, I just want to talk to you a little bit and explain, because I've gotten some questions from people and they've said that they have volunteered in the past and they've been inside the polling place. And so that's where they want it to be. They want to be in the polling place. And so what I've explained to people is that this is a nonpartisan effort that we are engaged in. And most states do not allow for nonpartisan representatives to be inside a polling place. They only allow for partisan. And so unless you're doing work with one of the campaigns, you're not allowed to be actually inside the polling place. So our poll monitors will be stationed outside. So if that's really your desire, is to be inside, then you really do need to work with one of the campaigns. And I will tell you, if you are just now deciding that that's what you want to do, you're a little late, because in order to be inside, you have to get what they call credentials. And that means going through the supervisor of elections so they can kind of vet you and know that you're okay to be inside the polling place. And you have to get specialized training. So that's why we're hoping that everyone that's on this call, that you will continue to work with us. And there are several opportunities in order for you to work with the National Bar still. Can we go to slide 3, please?
If I can clarify a little bit on that, because I was just looking this up just about a couple hours ago, looking at this issue. There are in fact 9 states that do allow nonpartisan legal observers to come inside the polls. It's just 9 now. You heard me, 9 out of 50 that do allow such a thing. Most don't. So it is important. And so some people may in fact have been part of a nonpartisan effort. I know that I have escorted voters inside of polling sites in the past, but I want people to be very clear that that's 9 out of 50. So don't count on it. Lynn is correct. It's a general rule. Be very careful and don't have those expectations.
But we have things that you can do and that we still need. So you can be a hotline volunteer. And what that means is you will be working remotely from your computer And when people call in to 1-866 our vote, they will talk to someone and they can talk about the problem they may be experiencing. You've heard Barbara talk about things that are happening to voters every day. And so they may not have anyone that they can feel comfortable talking to that's inside the poll, and not everyone is going to be inside. Not every polling place will have a poll watcher inside. So they may have to come outside and get on the phone. And they may actually run into someone who is poll monitoring for election protection, and they may have them call the hotline. So we need people that are there. And early voting is still going on in various places. Sometimes it would be over, and sometimes, on November the 1st, Florida is doing early voting up until then. So we have hotline shifts available right now that you can sign up for that go until November the 1st. We have the link there on the screen for you, the https bit.ly 34VXED6. Copy it down, take a screenshot of it now. Now, we also have Hotline Captains. What I just learned today, though, was that they don't have the capacity to train anyone else to be a captain. So unless you have already served as a captain before with election protection, you're not going to be able to serve as a captain this election. But you still can do your hotline volunteering. But if you have served as a captain, you've been trained before, then you can go to that link and get a captain shift and let them know that you've been previously served as a captain. Now, we also have, there are shifts after November the 1st, specifically on November the 2nd and Election Day. A lot of people want to know about what do we do? I want to volunteer on Election Day. Then you go to www.wetheaction.com. And then they have shifts there that go beyond Election Day. So that's one way you could do. Can we go to the next slide too? Poll monitoring. Like I said, we're going to have people outside the polls that are there to help. A voter may come out, they were turned away like this young man, and they need someone to talk to outside. Election Day, through election protection, they are targeting only 4 states. And if you want to look and find out what those states are, again, you go to www.wetheaction.org. If you're looking to get assigned in a little wider area, more areas, then you can go to protectthevote.net. They will have people stationed in other states also. Now, election protection, you will be getting a t-shirt that says election protection. So everybody out there will know that that's you. And because we're very sensitive to the fact that COVID is still going on, there are no travel assignments. In the past, there may have been times where you could go, if you lived in California, you could go to Arizona, or you could go from the South up to a northern state, one of the hot spots, and work in poll monitoring. We're not doing that this year. So everyone is staying in their locale. We're even suggesting that if you don't feel comfortable being out amongst people, that you can be in your car until you see a problem that's going on, and then you can address it. Also, one of the efforts that we're doing to help people feel safe with the National Bar Association, we're providing masks to volunteers and to voters. We're also providing hand sanitizers and wipes. So we want you to feel comfortable. We want you to feel safe when you volunteer. Next slide, please. When you volunteer to work on the hotline, you will receive training. Once you sign up for your shift, then you will receive a link to a 2-hour on-demand training. Now, a lot of people have been calling me and saying, I didn't get my training. And what we really want to caution you about, if you don't get your training, first, please check your spam folder on your email account. because the email is coming from We the Action, it may just automatically get kicked into your spam account. So check that first. But if you're not able to find it, next slide, please, then we're here to help you if you have a problem signing up or a problem getting your shifts or your training. So there is a email that you can send an email to directly with Lawyers Committee, because they are one of our big partners, and that's epvolunteer@lawyerscommittee.org. Or if you want to, you can contact me at my email, and I will work with them in order to help you get signed up. We've had people that had some problems in the past. Everyone's problems we have been able to resolve. As you heard from President Hoffer and from Barbara, we need you now. We need you to tell all your friends. And I just want to thank them both. I want to thank Barbara Arwine. I want to thank President Hoffer. And I really want to thank Tanya Clayhouse too, because she made it happen. That was the ideal that President Hoffer wanted the fellow, and then worked with Barbara Arwine to put it together, to say what they really wanted. And then Tanya Clayhouse made it happen. And I am so glad, and I feel so privileged to have the opportunity to serve as the first NBA TJC Election Protection Fellow, and to help design this program that we know is going to live on in the National Bar Association. We have Black lawyers out there caring about Black voters and making sure that they are able to exercise their rights to vote. When I think about all our ancestors did to ensure that we had this right to vote, and now here we are using our education that we weren't able to get years ago to ensure that people will still be voting and having the right to vote way into the future. And so, because you are volunteering, we want to acknowledge that. Next slide, please. So we have developed the Fighters for Democracy honor roll. Yes, if I had drums, I'd be beating the drums right now, because we know that you are taking time out of your day, out of your week to do this for our democracy, to save it. So because you are volunteering, we want to acknowledge that. So we have created the Fighters for Democracy honor roll. When you register with the National Bar to work in election protection, if you go to our website and you go to our election protection, National Bar Association election protection website, you will automatically be placed on the honor roll. Now, we also know that a lot of you are doing things that with your affiliates. You're also doing stuff with your regions and with your divisions and sections, and that you've been working with them for a while. But we want you to let us know what you're doing.
Yes.
Who are you working with? What kind of activities have you been involved with as it relates to election protection? And when you do that, you also can get included on the honor roll and get acknowledged for the work you do. We understand that everybody may not come through the website, but we are still out there working, and we want to acknowledge each and every Black lawyer around the country that's out there putting in the time and volunteering. And then you might know somebody else who's volunteering, and they may not be on this webinar tonight. Let us know. Send their names to us so they can be honored too. And so we want to have an honor roll that is so long that it just amazes and blow people away. Because we want people to know that the NBA is doing it. The NBA is committed to protecting the right to vote. Now, you know, President Hoffa, she doesn't ask for a lot sometimes, but she sets a very high bar. And so we are proud to carry it for her and to carry the message. And we need you to go out there and carry it back to everyone you know. Let's fill up the rest of the shifts we have, because we do have some shifts left for up until November the 1st. We need to do this. It's incumbent upon each one of us to do our part. Don't wait back and wait 5 years from now or 20 years from now and have somebody in your family say, well, where were you during the 2020 election? What did you do to help our country back then? Be able to tell them, I volunteered through election protection with the National Bar. Thank you. Leslie?
Leslie, can I add one thing?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lynn, for that presentation and all your great work.
Listen, Lynn is a gift. We are blessed to have Lynn. She has been remarkable. I mean, talk about a problem solver. Whoa, she's been amazing and so creative, so wise. Thank you so much. We mentioned the t-shirts. This is what we're talking about, the You Have the Right to Vote t-shirt. And on the back, it has the election protection hotline number. This is how people are going to be identified as being part of EP. These shirts aren't being mailed to you necessarily. They're coming to the groups that you're working with as part of the field monitoring programs. So you got to contact your group who you're working with, or your EPLC, Election Protection, what is that, legal committee? And you have to get these shirts. They are in 2 sizes, we understand, large and extra large. So we want to really encourage you to do that and to be identified as part of election protection at the polls, because we don't want people talking to any old body. Because some wrong bodies are going to be out there giving bad information. So these are the t-shirts we want you to get and to wear.
Thank you for adding that, Barbara. And I understand that Tanya Clayhouse is on now.
Okay. Hi, don't know if you can see me. Thanks so much, Lynn, and thanks for everybody for all the work and all the great work that everybody is doing. I just wanted to thank everybody for participating today and just urge you, please, to forward this information, to send it to all of your networks, to let your friends know that this is happening. I know that there's so much of demand that we have upon our time, but this is critical. And I think the National Bar really needs to show up, and we need to show that we are committed to protecting our people. There is a lot of that's happening. Barbara, as you can hear, is hoarse from already dealing with things on the ground. And, we are working around the clock in order to try to make sure that we are protecting our people. All of us are getting constant emails, things that are happening on the ground, people who are being rejected, like Barbara said, and we're able to try to, deal with this nonstop. I'll say right now already, there are upwards of 7,000 calls that are coming in to the 866 Our Vote hotline number. And that's, we're still in early voting stage. We can only imagine how many calls are going to come on election day. We have already surpassed the total number of calls that came in 2018 alone. So I just want to reiterate that, whatever affiliate you're in, if you are an affiliate or not, whatever regions, we need you to get this information out, because we need the National Bar to show up and to make sure that we're out there protecting our own, because they need our help and they're looking to us to provide that support. I just wanted to also add that, and all of us will be working in different capacities. I will be working the hotline, the national hotline. I'll be a national liaison, and I'm going to help to be coordinating also through the National Bar. I'll be your direct liaison through the hotline with the Lawyers Committee and all the rest of the groups, the national groups working and managing the hotline. And I'll also be coordinating with some of our other partners like NAACP and like National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and some others. So I just want to make sure you all know that there's a back door in case, we pretty much know that stuff is, I won't swear on this call, I've been doing that all day, but we know that stuff is going to hit the fan. So we're expecting that, and we're all constantly preparing. So I just want to reiterate, please help us, and please help us do this work. President Hoffler has done a yeoman's job of exercising leadership, and I just want to commend her for all of this and for bringing all of us together. And we need to show and show her that we can all step up and get this information out there. If you had problems signing up before, do it again. Tell others that they need to do it again. Tell them that this is not just, we always say elections are important, but this is about our entire democracy. And we can't let people just go back and think that their vote doesn't matter. So I just really encourage you to do this. Get on your Twitter pages if you have, Facebook, what have you. We're going to be pushing all this information out. I will also add that we are working, across the board. I know that videos went out with the celebrities. I know that I just verified that the National Bar Association was able to coordinate with NAACP and others to push out a voter suppression video with Kerry Washington. That has been placed. That is out there circulating the field right now. And we're also working with other celebrities to push out the hotline. And so we know that the calls are going to be coming in. We just had a Zoom call with about 100 celebrities. I did that last week with Kerry, with Alicia Keys, Common, and they're doing other videos. They're going to be doing an entire promotion tomorrow on CBS. So the point of this is that 866 Our Vote is going, it's out there wide, and we need you all to answer that call. So thank you again, President Hoffler. Thank you to Barbara and to Lynn, to Leslie and Carlos, all those that are leading on the Election Protection Coalition Committee. And, thank you for joining this call. And please, I beg you to get this information out there so that we can show that and exercise the leadership that the NBA and that President Hoffler has asked us to do.
Let me just say, Tanya, thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for all of your comments. And this video that we're doing today, this is the last, training. I would like all of our affiliates, all of our sections, all of our regions, we have over 86 of them. Each and every one of them should get a copy of this. It's being recorded, and Kyle, our magnificent IT professional, will have it all packaged, and everyone should get it. And I am asking all of our affiliate chapters to ensure that every single member of their affiliate chapter get this. And that's going to be an assignment that we're going to give to some nice young person who's volunteering, who that's going to be the only thing they do. Make sure the affiliates get it and that they go to the members, because that's really critical and important. And I did want to say to Jennifer and Wachuku, I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. Thank you for this partnership. Tanya said it best. Tanya, thank you so much for being our liaison on Election Day. I'm going to be on the National Command Center, but there's nothing like having the liaison where we can communicate back and forth, because that's the type of collaboration that we need. We must be at all stages and all levels, and that's what we're doing. And that's how we get it done. That's NBA style, where we leave no stone unturned. All right, I'm sorry, Leslie, I think I just interrupted and jumped in again.
No problem, Madam President. Jennifer, please, if you could share your information with us, that'd be great.
Absolutely. I just want to say thank you so much to President Hoffler, to the members of the National Bar Association, to Barbara Arnwine, to Lynn Whitfield, to Tanya Clayhouse, to you, Leslie Fields. Thank you so much for all of the work that you all have done. Thank you so much for your partnership, for your collaboration, the tireless efforts that you all have put into election protection, and for your partnership, your leadership. We cannot do this work without you. And so we are so grateful and appreciative for everything that you have put into election protection and committing and dedicating yourself to voting rights, and protecting the integrity of our elections and the right to vote for everyone, but particularly for our community. So I just want to start by saying that there's so much that has already been said on this call, and thank you so much to Lynn for highlighting all that is election protection and all of the ways that NBA members can engage and participate. There's so much to do. There's so much left to be done. There are so many different ways that folks can participate. And now is the time. There's still time left for people to be able to vote. And your participation as NBA members is crucial. We really are in the fight of our lives this year. We are trying to save voting rights. We are trying to save our democracy. As attorneys, we are trying to save the rule of law and salvage that as well. And it really does take all of us as Black attorneys to be able to do that. So it truly is incumbent upon all of us to participate in whatever ways we can, however we can, wherever we're at. We owe it to our communities to be proactive, to be engaged, and to make sure that everyone is able to safely and successfully cast their ballot and have it count. And that is really what is at the heart of election protection. That is the work that Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law engages in on a day-to-day basis. And so as a staff attorney at the Lawyers Committee, the work that I do, the work that my colleagues do, we can't do without your participation. There is still plenty of time for you to figure out how you want to participate. And with all of the resources that Lynn mentioned, using protectthevote.net, We the Action, the hotline, there are so many ways to get involved. As Barbara mentioned, there are ways that you can participate by being outside of the polls and still monitoring and making sure that people are safe, and that whatever it is that's taking place is documented. And that we have records for what is happening, so that if there is a need for additional litigation or follow-up, whatever it is that we need to do as Election Protection Coalition partners and members, that there's documentation for whatever those next steps should look like. And we can't do that without your support. So again, it is so critically important that we have everybody who is listening to this call, everyone who will see the video in the coming days, to really heed the call that all of us are sharing with you today. Because again, we cannot do this critical and necessary work without you. So with that, I just want to encourage you yet again, find a way to be engaged. There are ways that you can engage proactively outside if you feel comfortable doing so. There are ways that you can even monitor social media and see what's happening and what issues voters are raising through social media. And other members who are also part of the Election Protection Coalition on the ground in states all across the country will see that information, and we'll be able to deploy more volunteers and figure out how we can make sure that people will be able to vote. So I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you for everyone who's already spoken and emphasized why this is so important. And thank you to all of you who I know will be participating between now and Election Day, and even after Election Day, with the volunteer opportunities that are available. Thank you.
Thank you,
Leslie,
Jennifer, so much.
yeah, Leslie, just one thing I forgot to mention,
Mhm.
and I apologize. If there are any attorneys on here who are in Georgia and the outside the metro Atlanta area, if you would contact me tomorrow morning so I can put you in touch with Harold Franklin. There is an urgent need for attorneys in Georgia outside of the metro Atlanta area. So more rural area Georgia, and especially if you are admitted to the federal courts in the Georgia area, please contact me at lwhitfield@tjcoalition.org. Thank you.
And let me add, when we're talking about Georgia, Leslie, I want to say we have also, we're working with Fair Fight as well as a Southern Poverty Law Center. So I just wanted to point that out. Georgia is a hot spot. There's some hot messes, brewing in Georgia, but I got news for people. I'm here in the Atlanta metropolitan area. Half car will travel. And so I've been doing what I call drive-bys because I've already voted and everything. So I'm in my car driving by, not a drive-by shooting, let me be very clear, just a drive-by looking, seeing, asking questions. That's a drive-by. And so we do have a lot of people, but we need people in certain communities, Columbus, Georgia, Savannah. We have some rural communities, Rome, Albany. I always want to say Albany because I'm from upstate New York, but it's Albany, Georgia. Those places, we want you to be admitted in the federal courts, in the Middle District, in the Southern District, in the Northern District of Georgia. Harold Franklin is remarkable. He's been doing this for 20 years. He is heading the election protection effort for the state of Georgia. He's a partner at King and Spalding. He is mighty, mighty, and bad to the bone. Well, we know what that means, bad to the bone. So anyway, Leslie, I saw again.
No, that's fine, Madam President. I just wanted to, before we have you close out, I just wanted to give a personal thanks to the Election Protection Committee. Who's been meeting all month and started in September. And people like Ashley Lee and Elisa Hughes and Harold Pope and Anika Williams and many, and particularly my co-chair, President-elect Carlos Moore and Amanda Stewart. And, when you start naming names, you forget. So please excuse if I've left your name off, but everyone who has been helping us on the Election Protection Committee and all of you who took the training during Wiley-Branton, which was extraordinary. Thank you all. And then it's been a privilege to work with Tanya Clayhouse and my new friend, Lynn Whitfield, and someone who has been, I've admired and been a mentor to me for a very long time now, Barbara Arnwine. So thank you all. God bless you all. And I will have now our president, C.K. Uffler, close us out and to send us out to save our democracy in the next 6 days.
Absolutely, Leslie. And that is what this is about. We are saving our democracy. So we just don't have a choice. Lawyers, we do not have a choice. We must protect the right to vote. If you ever in your life have found that it was important that people died so that you could vote, now is the time to show that appreciation. If you ever in your life felt that it was important to reward your great-grandmothers, your great aunties who stood in and experienced a whole lot because they originally couldn't have the right to vote. And when they stood in line and could vote, if you ever heard stories about that, you owe it to them. To your forefathers who died, who were beaten. Just think of the first African-Americans who went to vote, who were men in the service, men and women in their uniform and turned away, even though they served their country and couldn't vote, but came back and were able to vote ultimately. If any of that means anything to you, then you must do this. But even if none of that means anything to you, if you believe in democracy and the right to vote fairly, freely, without intimidation, without a gun to your head, without oppression and suppression, then you owe it to yourself, to your family, to your community. If you have children in your life, as I do, my 18-year-old who turned 18 today and who voted for the first time, thank you, Lord. And I had filmed that. I had my camera like a crazy woman all upside and filming it. You owe it to those children to vote so that they know we can do this together.
Yes.
And we went to law school. We went to law school to protect the right to vote. We went to law school. We made a pledge as citizens of bars that this is what we would do. So I would say, please do this. Please do this. Do it for yourself, do it for your children, do it for your family. I'm going to leave you now, and I'm going to dissect this with that good old Portuguese expression. Barbara, you know it. A luta continua, vitória é certa. Right now, we're in the first part of that expression. A luta continua. The struggle continues. Oh, we in a struggle. We're in a huge struggle. We are struggling because that's what voter suppression is, election protection. That gentleman who couldn't vote, who was turned away, but came back with clergy and voted, that's the struggle. The struggle continues, and it's going to continue until the polls close. Those stamps that weren't working in North Carolina, and on October 20th, when a federal prosecutor in Mecklenburg County voted, and on the top it said his voting time was 11/3/2020, November 3rd at 8:37 p.m. after the polls would have closed, and this was on October 20th, that is how the struggle continues. And the second part of that is Vitória é certa. Victory is certain. You got to go through the struggle and understand in your mind that it continues for us to get to the second part, which is Vitória é certa. Protecting the right to vote in our nonpartisan effort with all of our partners is how we get to the second part. Vitória é certa. Victory certain. Thank you. And we'll see you out there at the polls, doing what we do, even if you're at your computer. Thank you for being a part of this National Bar Association family.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, National Bar Association, all members, staff, everyone who are partners. Thank you very much. We'll see you out at the polls.
Right.